After the release of DMC a few years back left a sour taste in my mouth, I was eager to see if Devil May Cry 5 would return the series to its former glory. In no way did it disappoint. The fast-paced action, impressive combat system, and actual likeable characters make a return, and in my opinion it's all the better for it. There's 3 playable characters in total. You got Dante, Nero, and V, who all possess their own unique fighting styles that all differ enough from each other to warrant getting used to each to find which one suits you best. Like past games in the series, the objective is to get insanely high combos through the use of the ranking system, and with all the new tools at your disposal, this has never been easier. Devil May Cry 5 is stunning. It's all running on the RE engine and takes full advantage of all the features that it offers. Sprawling vistas, vibrant particle effects, and imaginative enemy design all come together to create something truly incredible. If you haven't got around to playing it yet, I'd highly recommend it. I've got a huge history with the Advance Wars series. Upon hearing that jolly music, I'm instantly transported back to a simpler time, a time where my Game Boy Advance would literally go everywhere with me, so at any one moment I could have the chance to take on another round or two. Advance Wars Dual Strike builds upon the various iterations that have come before and throws you into the role of a commanding officer. At your disposal are several types of units ranging from fighter jets to rockets and submarines that all have a distinct role to play on the battlefield. The amount of strategy involved in taking on the enemy is surprisingly deep and at times can be quite unforgiving, so don't let the light-hearted music and visuals fool you, as Advance Wars packs a serious punch, and if you don't have a grasp of all the options at your disposal, you'll quickly be defeated. I'd say the DS version Dual Strike quite possibly is the best in the series, which I still find myself playing to this day, so if you're into turn-based strategy, Advance Wars would make a fine addition to your collection. Growing up, I never really had access to a powerful PC. Sure, I'd pass the time playing the many consoles that I owned, but PC gaming was always something of an enigma to me. That was until I was introduced to SimCity 3000. I know it's not the most graphically intense game for the PC at the time, but when your computer is only meant for doing homework, it was the perfect match. Ever since then, I became a huge fan, and although the DS port isn't without its flaws, it's a competent rendition of the classic title, which really deserves a look if you're a fan of the series. You take up the role of a mayor and the task of creating and managing a city, right down to the power and water supply, as well as the health and education systems that will serve your population. Trying to balance your expenses and income soon becomes the biggest challenge the game has to offer, and will push you to make certain sacrifices in order for your city to run smoothly. Going back and playing this brought back a ton of memories, and although it won't be for everyone, it's something I'll always have a special place for. Growing up, I always had a huge fascination with Hideo Kojima's games, may that be Snatcher, Policenauts, or the critically acclaimed Metal Gear Solid series, so after following Death Stranding for several years, I was eager to get my hands on it and unravel Kojima's latest creation. I wasn't at all disappointed. To be fair, I feel Death Stranding won't be for everyone due to its rather slow-paced nature and isolationist approach from its gameplay right down to its story, but I managed to find a certain peace in wandering the wasteland of an apocalyptic Earth that most games just cannot reach. Getting stuck into the mechanics and main objective of the experience was a surprisingly rewarding aspect as well. Helping other players rebuild the world and coming together is a concept that will forever stay with me, and something I hope to see expanded upon in a potential sequel in the future. If you're looking for a highly unique experience to sink some time into, Death Stranding will provide that and much more. The Tomb Raider reboot is something I've been following since the first initial release on the PlayStation 3. Being such a huge fan of the series, it's been a great ride seeing this arc of Lara's story reach its conclusion, and with Shadow of the Tomb Raider, that's what begins to show. It really is the culmination of everything that has been learned along the way with these new installments of the classic franchise. As you would expect, you'll be visiting a wide range of diverse areas such as jungles and ancient ruins, with a whole host of weaponry and abilities at your disposal as well to deal with the ever-growing threat from the enemy. The best aspect of Shadow of the Tomb Raider though has to be its gameplay. Lara has never felt more responsive, and as a result the minute-to-minute play feels all the better for it. Overall, I've had a blast playing through the latest chapter in Lara Croft's journey, and hope we get to see the series continue in some fashion after the events of this game. Super Princess Peach is a rather unique platformer that stars everyone's favourite damsel in distress Peach, but this time the roles are reversed, with Peach taking centre stage in an adventure she can call her own. What makes it stand out when compared to the mountain of platformers that have come before is the inclusion of a pretty neat mechanic that represents Peach's emotions. On the bottom screen of the DS there are several emojis that represent these emotions, with each granting the player a different ability that will aid them throughout the course of the level. There's 4 in total: joy, gloom, rage and calm, that all have varying effects. The real standout aspect though has to be the boss battles that wait for you at the end of each area. You'll be fighting off a whole range of Bowser's minions, and with each requiring specific strategies in order to overcome. There is plenty to keep you on your toes. If you're a fan of platformers like myself, then Super Princess Peach would make a great addition to your library as well. Ever since the days of the Dreamcast, the Shenmue series is something that has always had a special place in my heart. After the release of Shenmue II and the excruciating wait to finally see the story continue, Shenmue III arrived. Picking up right after the events of the previous entry, it follows Ryo and his arrival in Guilin as he gets used to the quiet and tranquil life of rural China. It really does feel like a genuine follow-up as well, with all the staple aspects of the Shenmue series making a return, such as capsule toys, a huge emphasis upon martial arts, as well as being able to interact with a whole host of NPCs that occupy the world. After all these years, it's incredible to be on this journey once again, and with several new features in place, such as a modern control scheme and the well thought out training system, it feels all the more engaging as well. Now it won't be for everyone, as the slow pace and somewhat archaic nature may have the potential to turn some people off, but for myself personally, Shenmue 3 is more than I could ever have asked for. I'll never forget that Christmas where I received a PlayStation, along with the likes of Resident Evil and Ace Combat, was a special game known as Ridge Racer. Now I've always been fond of arcade experiences. The quick pick up and play nature of them is something I've always enjoyed, but Ridge Racer was something different, something incredible for a little 10-year-old TVGS to get stuck into. The DS port is essentially the N64 game, which shares much in common with the original release. All the cars, tracks and non-stop drifting all make the cut, with one new aspect, that being a totally different control scheme in the form of the touchscreen, which was also included, but in all honesty you'll just never be able to beat traditional controls when it comes to Ridge Racer. The precision that is required in order to effectively drift around each track is just something I could never emulate on anything else. So if you're looking for a decent racer on the DS, Ridge Racer is a perfect option.